going to be massive rallies. I don't know. You guys
We'd love to
maybe-
come. We'd love to
Well,
come.
we'll have you at the rallies.
We'll be there.
You guys may be able to do bigger rallies than me, but I'm not sure about that.
We'll have you at the rallies. You guys might be able to do bigger rallies than me, but I'm not sure about that. Well, thank you very much for having us. We're excited to be here. We were just talking to the Nelk Boys on the Full Send podcast. We were talking to them, and they done a beautiful thing. But we're excited to be here. We've got a lot to talk about. The number one thing is we're doing NoFap. We've decided recently that, frankly, we're spending way too much time sitting around jacking off, and we're just sitting around and jacking our shit and not doing anything very useful and anything very productive at all. So we've decided we're doing semen retention. And by the way, I don't know if you know, but we're talking to Sneeko, and I think he's doing it too. We're talking to Sneeko. I don't know if you know who Sneeko is. He's doing wonderful things. He's Filipino, I think. And we're talking to him about maybe even... Because here's the thing, when you stop jacking off and you stop thinking about coming all the time, you start to realize you've got all of this masculine energy inside of you and all of this innate life force. You've got this innate life force that can be used for much more creative things and much more, interesting projects. So we're talking to Sneeko about maybe doing a podcast. We might be doing a show with Sneeko. We're going to go to Fort Lauderdale and ask these drunk ladies off the street, excuse me, ladies, they're 20 years old, and by the way, we're not checking their IDs, but we bring them on the show and we go, what's your body count? And how long should the talking stage be? Because that's what everybody wants to know, because frankly, it's hard to be a guy. It's hard to be a guy out there and understanding these women, so you bring them on the show and you go, what's the biggest penis you've ever seen? Because that's what everybody wants to know, frankly. So we're talking to these ladies. We're doing a show. It's what everybody wants. And Sneeko's doing amazing things. So that's what we're doing, semen retention. And we're starting a podcast. Thank you very much.
That was Trump doing NoFap. Trump was on the Full Send podcast. They just released an episode where they interviewed Donald Trump. This is the Nelk guys, the Nelk boys. By the way, what's going on? Weren't they like YouTube prank guys? Weren't they like,
yo, what the fuck is up? What's up? This is Kyle from the Nelk boys. We just shotgunned a whole bunch of fucking beer. I had 7, and now we're going to be doing pushing over old people prank.
isn't that what they were? And now all of a sudden they're like a media conglomerate and they have 8 seltzer brands. Like what? Weren't they just like shitty YouTube prank guys? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I don't really follow them, but they're interviewing Donald Trump. What? It was crazy. There was an incredible part at the end of the show where they go,
Okay, so we're going to say one name. We're going to say a name, and then you just respond with the first word that comes to mind. Biden.
and then Trump goes,
Dumb. Dumb. No, I'm kidding.
He goes, Ice Spice.
and then Trump goes,
Who the hell is Ice Spice? What the hell is Ice Spice? No, we love her music. It's beautiful.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1. This is our test pilot episode. I just got laid off 3 weeks ago. And I thought, all right, while I'm taking money from the government, I should try to at least get some new comedy project off the ground that I don't know, that is fun.
Gavin Newsom's giving us his money, and we're going to use it to start a podcast, by the way, and because we're getting unemployment and we're sucking him dry, not sexually, but financially, because, by the way, is he a vampire or what? Because he looks like Stephanie Meyer's, he looks like he should be a new Dawn with that Edward and the Asian guy the guy that kind of looks, he's the werewolf. Nobody knows, is he Asian, is he Native American, or is he just a white guy? But Stephanie Myers, I tell you what, that's what Gavin Newsom should be doing, the new Stephanie Myers.
I thought, but it's nice that I've been working on a Trump impression for a long time now, for the last month. I don't blame them for laying me off because this is what I've been doing every day. during work hours, muting the Zoom call, turning off my camera, and then going,
We're on a Zoom call. We're on a Zoom call, and everybody likes talking on Zoom because it's very organic feeling. It feels like a real human interaction when, somebody respond. You say a joke, and then it takes 5 minutes for people to respond, and they don't even laugh because their microphones are muted. All you can do is see a little grin on their face 10 minutes after you say the joke, and so it's fun to do a Zoom call.
and that's what I was doing the entire last month that I was on payroll. What was I even talking about? I've been doing a Trump impression. It's kind of nice because I don't have to try. First of all, doesn't come naturally to me. It was a hard one to get because I think I'm like 70 to 80% there. Like I'm not James Austin Johnson level, the SNL guy who did he kind of exploded out of nowhere. He made the Trump talking about Scooby-Doo video like 2 years ago.
Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo. They call the show Scooby-Doo.
He's the best Trump guy. But I couldn't really do it. And by the time, like halfway through his presidency, by the time I wanted to try to give it a stab, it's like, it was kind of hack to have a Trump voice. And then James Austin Johnson already came out with his, and I was like, whatever. But leading up to the 2024 election, I was like, I should have one in my back pocket. Anyways, this is what I've been doing for 10 hours a day. And it's kind of nice to be able to jump into it at any time because I don't have to try to do jokes anymore at all. I don't have to ever think about... I don't have to try creatively in conversation. I could just at any time hop into Trump talking about whatever the last person just said, At any point in time, I can go,
What the hell are we talking about?
So I'm glad I did this for 10 hours a day at the cost of my job. Anyways, I wanted to start something that's like low pressure. I don't have to spend 12 hours editing a longer video like I have. I mean, I've only done that. I've only made like 2 longer videos. But it's just a lot of, it takes a long fucking time. And I just wanted to be able to do something that I can like realistically produce on a weekly basis and get better at. So we're starting a podcast. Very lame to be starting a podcast in 2023. Extremely shitty comedy guy thing to do, but I don't give a fuck. Who cares? At some point, I'll have other people on once I get a little better at it, and it might get more structured. I don't really know how to approach it yet, but for now, I'm just like, I have like a list of talking points because I can't fully stream of consciousness for an hour, so I have to think a little bit about what I want to do. But yeah, we'll see. Bear with me. I'll try to get better at this, and I'll try to make it funny faster. Anyways, on the topic of impressionists, isn't it funny when somebody's entire career is just one impression? Like Trump has leagues, because as I've been trying to figure out the Trump impression, I've been looking at other people's impressions. So I'll just like go on TikTok and I'll look at, Trump impression or YouTube. And there are a ton of fucking guys out there who they're seemingly their full-time job is to just be a Trump impressionist, where like they get some like weird old white people in Florida hire them to come to like a fucking funeral or something, and then do a comedy set where they just get at a podium and they go, "Look, it's me, Donald Trump," and it's always a horrible impression every time, except for maybe like 5 of them. But there's like all these fucking guys that they make a full-time living off of just being another guy. Isn't that like the craziest? Isn't that the craziest level of dickriding you can get to just be fully mimicking another person for sale? Trump has to fucking hate these guys after a while, Like every rally he goes to, somebody comes up and they're like,
Look, hey, Donald, it's me. it's me, it's you, and we're here together, and by the way, I'm you and you're me.
And he's got to be like, yeah, haha, that's great. You're very talented. Somebody fucking kill this guy. I wonder what it's like to be someone who gets impersonated all the time. Because at first you have to be flattered by it. You have to go, oh, that's nice that somebody would. I mean enough to enough people that people out there are like spending an extreme amount of time observing me and mimicking my vocal inflections and my personality and everything. So at first it's got to be like, oh, that's really cool. Like I'm flattered. That's really funny. Eventually though, once you get it a dozen times, it has to be so fucking annoying to get constantly people throwing your own speech patterns and vocal inflections and exaggerating them. So you know exactly what other people think is funny about the way that you talk. At some point, you just got to go, they got to be like, yeah, you're super talented, get this guy the fuck away from me. That's probably how I would feel. Maybe not. I don't know. I just think it's funny to be a full-time impressionist. At the same time, I would take that job in 5 seconds. If people started to pay me to go in front of an audience and only be Trump, and not even at like comedy clubs and shit, but I'm talking about like at weird Florida, what are those like southern like cotillions? I don't know what they're called. Fuck. Is that what it is? Just like it's like quinceañeras for white girls in the South. I don't remember what they're called. But that's like if I could get hired by those types of people to go up and do a Trump for, I don't know, 10 grand, that would be fucking amazing. Although down there they'd probably be like, what's wrong with something's off about this Trump character. He's got a decent impression, but he looks a little Chinese. What the hell's going on with this guy? So I don't know if I could do that, but anyways. Here's something I was thinking about recently. I went to this flea market. I went to the Rose Bowl flea in Pasadena. This is like a huge Los Angeles area flea market. And a lot of these flea markets, they sell, vintage clothing. They sell a lot of, like, basically you go there and everyone else there is like a very streetwear looking. They just all look fucking cool. They all look cool. I go there, everybody, even 4-year-old children have cooler outfits than me. I'm like, what? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, I went there and I a lot of these places, like I saw this really sweet Samurai Jack t-shirt from the early 2000s. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm thinking like, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a $20 t-shirt. I might get it. I asked the guy, hey, how much is this Samurai Jack shirt? $235 for a vintage t-shirt. I almost fucking strangled him on the spot. It should be a crime to charge that much. But all these people are willing to pay hundreds of dollars for vintage clothing, which I do think looks cool, but it just makes me think like, what the fuck is going on? Especially in LA. It seems like anytime I go to like just any event or gathering of people, it's like everybody looks too fucking cool. Nobody just dresses normally. They all have the cool streetwear look. But I'm like, where are you getting these fucking, where do you get this shit? How do you afford it? I don't know. I'm just kind of ranting about it. I think about this a lot as I walk around LA. It's like everyone looks cool. I used to really like skate clothing a lot. I like that it's making a return. Again, because that was like the first type of clothing I thought was cool. Back when I was skating in like elementary school and middle school, I remember my friends and I would get CSS, I think it's called, or CCS magazine. It was like a skate clothing magazine. They would have new releases you would have all the skate decks in the back, and then they would have skate clothing, Spitfire, Fallen. I remember we got matching Fallen hoodies once, and everybody had a Spitfire hoodie. But we would sit around every time the magazine came out. You'd have to like go to Zoomies and sign up to get the magazine, or you would buy something from Zoomies and they would give you a subscription to the magazine with your purchase. Anyways, we'd sit around and we would just look at how cool the clothes were. And it's like there are similar styles of clothing now that I feel like are pretty popular. I remember at the time the biggest thing were crew jeans. They were skinny jeans, which of course are now out of fashion. It's much more, it's baggier. It's like workwear clothing, work pants, Carhartts, Dickies, that type of shit. But I remember crew jeans were super, super popular. They were skin tight. And all my friends had crew jeans. And I wanted a pair so fucking bad. I wanted to look like a cool skater like my friends did, but I knew I would never, ever get a pair because one time my dad and I were driving past a group of kids, a group of skaters on the side of the street, and then he pointed at them and he was like, Kev, I don't understand your generation. What the hell are they wearing? Women's clothing? I don't get you kids. And then from that point on, I was fucking terrified. I had to be like, yeah. No, yeah, they actually look super lame. I actually hope they get hit by a car when they're skating next. Yeah, I think they should be expelled for wearing those, honestly. My dad was like, the hell are you talking about? I mean, you're taking it a little far, son. I just think they're dressed a little womanly is all. But from that point on, I couldn't, I knew I would never, I was way too self-conscious. I would never wear a pair of crew jeans, which all my friends had. All my skater friends. Anyways, I'm a little confused by the current streetwear trend. I think I think it looks fucking cool, but how do you afford all this shit? How is it that everybody dresses like this now? At least in Los Angeles, it's like everybody looks way too fucking cool. Anytime I go anywhere, I'm constantly like, where do you get your clothes? There are 4-year-olds walking on the street that look cooler than I've ever looked in my entire. I just remembered I went to some I don't know, some like boutique streetwear brand or reseller in the arts district of Los Angeles. A very like, you know, hipster area. But I went down there and I was just I was looking at, you know, hats and t-shirts and shit. And there was a 3 to 4-year-old child browsing the clothing with his dad, who was a very cool looking hot guy. His dad is standing next to him. And this kid is like picking out, and by the way, these are all like minimum $70 t-shirt. A hat is $50. It's like, why is this child looking at this shit? But the kid would take clothes and look at him and then put it back. And the dad was like observing what his kid was looking at, and the cashier, whoever the sales associate or whatever the fuck was watching this happen. And the dad would like look over at his son. His son would put his shirt back, and the dad would go like, yeah, he thinks that one's trash. Which one? Yeah, no, that's fire. Do you want to get that? He thinks this one's fire. It's like, that's a baby. That's a baby. You know what I mean? What's going on? It's fucking crazy. Anyways, those are my thoughts on, that was stupid, but those are my thoughts on streetwear. I just think it's confusing. Okay, we're going to take a brief ad break. Now, the problem is I do not have any proof of concept or audience. So there's zero reason why any advertiser would be particularly interested. However, my thoughts are if I can write ads on spec and pitch these companies over time, once I have an audience in a few years, then maybe they go, okay, like this is an easy spend, because not only is he the on-air talent, but he's like he's a full service agency. He's doing the creative too. So we don't even have to pay a copywriter. Anyways, so I pick a couple brands and I try to match their brand voice. I try to, give these advertisers what they want to hear. So here's our first ad. This is for Manscaped, the popular men's grooming product company. And again, I try to make it so that the voice matches the brand. Anyways, here we go. Hey, pussy! I can't even see your dick and balls. There's so much fucking hair in the way. When's the last time you shaved down there? Probably around the same time you last went to the dentist. You look fucked up. The new Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 will take your grooming game to the next level. Our skin-safe technology will defend your balls from pesky nicks and cuts and keep your package looking as bare as a baby's bottom. But the best part is if you use my code KevSanji40, you can save 40% on our Performance Package 4.0 bundle. Don't stop at defending your balls. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll also be defending your right to bear arms with the new Manscaped gun. Again, that's KevSanji40. So I also did a kind of a product pitch at the end there. Okay, next ad. This is for BetterHelp, the popular online therapy aggregator. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Studies show that in the first 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic, global prevalence of anxiety and depression increased by over 58%. Wow, that's a lot. Many people, especially young people and women, are reporting that they still feel the effects of the isolation today, despite the world slowly moving to a new normal. Are you still feeling this way? Well, get help today. After answering a few questions, BetterHelp will pair you with a licensed therapist that fits your specific needs and preferences and helps you realize that your feelings of loneliness, lingering social anxiety, and stress are pretty much just you being lazy. It's not really related to the pandemic. It's mostly your fault, and you're just kind of a negative person. Use my code Sanji20 and get real help from real therapists today for just $300 a session. Very reasonable price, too. Anyways, that was our advertising segment. The goal is to, over time, develop a library of spec ads and pitch to these companies, and then hopefully they'll go, oh, he understands. It's a brand match. He understands the voice. And this is kind of the target audience and demographic that we want. Let's pay him $8,000 an ad read. And then I don't have to get another job. I like writing fake ads. So I'm thinking over time I really want to build like satirical advertising into a more fleshed out concept for the show, but I don't know. We'll see. Last thing is, really quick, I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about this when I was writing this shitty BetterHelp script. I worked for a company that gave us a Headspace subscription as a way of managing stress and anxiety. If you don't know what Headspace is, it's like It's basically a meditation app where they have a custom timer. You set it for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then they have like a series of voiceover meditation prompts where it's started by this guy, Andy Puddicombe. He's a white British dude that moved to Nepal or something to become a Buddhist monk for years. And then he came back to the US or England and he founded this company with a business partner where he repackaged the Buddhist meditation practice that he learned while he was there and the Buddhist philosophy. And he turned it into an app, which has since become it's just like a tech company in Santa Monica. Like when I moved to Los Angeles 5 years ago and I was looking for jobs, I saw that Headspace was hiring, on fucking LinkedIn or whatever. And I looked at their website. And it's just a tech company in Santa Monica. Is there something weird about that? Like this ancient Buddhist philosophy and practice now just being some shitty tech company in Santa Monica where it's like a Google startup culture clone where you go into the office and they have, you know, the fucking nap pods and, you know, snacks and catered meals and I don't know what they have in these tech companies. A playground. You know, they have like a big slide and some monkey bar. I don't know what these companies do, but isn't there something weird about that? This guy, Andy Puddicombe. Am I at time? No. This guy, Andy, I mean, I used this app for years, so I'm not even shitting on this guy necessarily. It's just a weird circumstance. This guy, Andy, hi, my name's Andy. This is what the prompts sound like. I'm Andy. If you could just think of your mind like a bright blue sky and all your thoughts and feelings floating by like clouds in the sky. I'm thinking about jacking off. I'm noticing that I need to jack off, but I let it pass by like a dandelion floating on the wind. Anyways, it's just strange. It's just strange that it's like this ancient Buddhist philosophy now has like a fucking talent acquisition team, you know? I don't really know what I'm trying to get across. I just think it's like a weird, you know. Could you imagine telling the Buddha as he's floating above a rock thousands of years ago, whenever Buddhism started? He's floating above a rock in Nepal, and then you go, hey, you know this like thing that you're doing right here? One day, this is just going to be a company where there's a white lady in Santa Monica doing interviews over Zoom for a product manager role. The Buddha would probably kill himself. I think that's about it. Thanks for watching and listening. If you did this long, why? But I appreciate it. I don't know what this is going to become. I know this is nonsense right now, but over time, I'm going to try to make it funnier, faster. I don't know what like bits or segments I can integrate into it, but I'll figure it out. And hopefully I get better over time. But anyways, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I will make another one of these next week.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for watching the show, and we really appreciate it. And, we're doing an episode next week. We're having Sneeko on the show and the Fresh and Fit guys, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And we're doing NoFap still. We're doing semen retention, so thank you very much. And it's going to be a good show. Don't do it, Donald. NoFap's a lie. We've been doing NoFap for years, Donald, and all I could do is think about jacking off. It didn't help my focus. I can't come on my mind, Donald. It's all I can do is think about coming and jacking off, and I gotta jack my shit, Donald. I haven't done it in years. Don't do NoFap. It's a big lie.
Thanks for listening. Bye.